Hello and welcome to another video, and today we're going to talk about a topic I've wanted to talk about for a while, but I've kind of been playing the sideline on this topic for a little bit and just kind of watching the train wreck as it happens. Specifically, I'm titling this video, Stop Shipping Unfinished Games, because I think it's a huge problem across the industry, but in particular today we're talking about Anthem and just the utter disaster that game has become. In a way that we've all kind of forgotten about the disaster that was Fallout 76, but that's also a game that will be included in this video. The biggest point I want to make with this video is that we need to stop shipping these broken games, these games that are unfinished, just simply shoving them out the door because we have to make some sort of investor deadline or something to get the game out. It's very clear that Fallout 76 needed another 6 to 8 months in the chamber before it should have launched. And the same can be said about Anthem. Now, while Fallout 76 is a very broken and bad game that I did purchase and played maybe roughly 3 hours of, I had the better idea of just avoiding Anthem completely, which really pains me because I'm a huge fan of BioWare, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, I'm a fan of the things that they've done prior to Anthem, and even going back recently and playing Mass Effect Andromeda, which is something I plan to cover in a couple weeks here as kind of its 2-year anniversary of the channel. I specifically stayed away from Anthem because I just had this hunch that BioWare wasn't going to be able to pull it off, and they didn't. And I think the thing that's made this game even worse than Fallout 76 is the game-breaking bugs. This game has gotten so bad to a point now that it is bricking PlayStation 4 systems. And that's a huge mess. And it seemed like it was an isolated incident at first, but now it's kind of everywhere that this is happening. It's bricking some systems, other systems it's kind of just doing a hard reset where the system shuts down and then you have to do a hard reset to turn it back on. Other users have reported it's completely just broken their system. And while yes, I'm sure BioWare is behind the scenes rapidly working on a patch to fix and address this issue, and right now it seems like it's isolated to specifically PlayStation 4 systems, so it's not affecting the other consoles or PC or anything like that. It's still a huge problem when you see this happen with any video game, and that's the point that I want to make here today. And I think this also plays into the fact that EA as a company is not going to be at E3 this year at all. They are skipping E3 completely, much like Sony, because what do they have this year? Think about it. They announced a new Dragon Age game, but they've already stated that that game is several years away. And so what do you have for an EA conference this year? We're just going to talk about sports games for an hour? People don't really care about that. I think with how disastrous EA has been lately, you know, we've seen Battlefield 5 didn't really do the numbers that EA expected it to, and the future of that franchise is kind of up in the air right now. You know, the Star Wars Battlefront games were a disaster since they've taken over, and, you know, there's hope that Respawn's Jedi Fallen Order game is going to be good. I have massive hope that that game's good. I have incredible faith that Respawn can deliver a incredible Star Wars game that we've kind of been waiting for but haven't seen. You know, you've seen EA behind the scenes. They canceled that other Star Wars game they were working on. You know, they kind of shoved out Mass Effect Andromeda 2 years ago from what I would call the BioWare B team, while the A team was supposedly working on Anthem, but apparently that didn't come through, as we all know now, in the way that it should have. And so now you have this situation where what does EA have to tell? What's their story right now? And I think their story is honestly a lot of internal restructuring, and that's not a good story to tell on an E3 stage. We're also seeing E3 change, you know, landscape this year. You know, Sony has not ever not shown up at E3 in 24 years. And so for them to say, hey, we're not doing it this year is a massive deal. You know, Nintendo stopped actually doing press conferences at E3 like 5 or 6 years ago in favor of these directs, which I think was a smart decision for them. Will they still maintain a booth presence at E3? They just don't have a massive stage show, and I think that's worked in their favor. You know, Microsoft on the other side of things has tripled down on, hey, we're going to be at E3 this year, we're going to have our biggest E3 ever, which pretty much confirms they're going to talk about their new 2020 systems. And, you know, what they're going to do with Game Pass, and if this rumor of the, you know, Xbox Game Pass coming to Switch and all these things are true, I feel like that's their conversation at E3. But you have a company like EA. What do you do with them now? They've shipped this incredibly broken and expensive video game that is not doing the numbers they planned. I've already seen it on sale. I've seen it some places as low as $40 already. It's been out for 2 weeks, and it's already at a $40 price point in some places. There are already major retailers running deals on the game. It's a sad thing to see, because now you have a situation where they have to basically go under damage control and fix this game for the people that bought it. And I had this feeling, unfortunately, I think games as a service it's still in its infant state. We're still learning how to make and create these games. I mean, yes, there's a huge argument to Fortnite's success and everything there, and now Apex Legends launching and kind of saving EA this year. And as I've said before, personally, I've played a portion of Apex Legends, and I think it's a really, really good game for what it is. But I think as a whole, games as a service only work when you're launching a free game and then adding microtransactions in that makes sense. Not arbitrary microtransactions that pay to win, but pay for cosmetics and those kind of things. I think that works. Where I think it kind of falls apart is when you put out a $60 product and then also make that $60 product a games as a service game, and then you don't deliver on the service part of it. And that's the main issue with Anthem, is that BioWare and EA have not delivered on the service part of Anthem. And this is a game people paid $60 for at the least. There are people that bought the collector's edition in that game. I don't even know how much that cost. And I couldn't even imagine how angry I would be right now if I had bought Anthem and what my feelings would be on that game. And I did struggle with it. There was a part of me that wanted to buy that game and cover it for the channel because of how big of a BioWare fan I am. But there was this other much, much deeper internal struggle with me where I said, no, I don't think you should buy Anthem. It doesn't seem like it's going to be good, and it's clearly shown that it's not a good game. And it's unfortunate, because I think the team behind Anthem, at BioWare is an incredible team. They've made some of my favorite video games in the last 15 years. And here we have it. I think part of it was they were forced to make a games as a service game, and maybe they necessarily didn't want to do that. Remember, Casey Hudson, the Mass Effect trilogy guy, he left and then was brought back to help get this game shipped out on time. And it clearly wasn't ready to be launched, and it's a mess. And the point here I want to make through discussing all of this is that games as a service are something that can exist, but we need to rethink how we're going to launch those kind of games. And also, please stop shipping unfinished games. One of the biggest issues I had with Anthem and its launch was the fact that they technically launched that game on February 15th, 2019, but the real game came out at retail a week later. So when they actually put out a day one patch, they put it out on February 22nd, basically telling those people that bought it a week early, oh hey, thanks for beta testing the game for us. Those people paid more money. They literally had to pay like $80 to play that game a week early, but that was basically also a beta test. That's insane. That is a terrible, terrible business practice, and it just shows where EA's mindset has been in the last couple of years, and it's all kind of just, gathered up into this giant mess. And I think that pretty much sums up why EA's not at E3 this year, because they have a massive restructuring ahead of them. The easiest point I want to make here is just stop shipping unfinished games. If you look at the game and you say, hey, I don't think this is ready to go, make that decision. Us as gamers, we're more likely to be at the other end of that game if you come out and you're honest. And you say, hey, you know what, Fallout 76, we're making this game, hey, we promised it on this date. I don't think it's ready. I think we should wait 8 months. Give the team a longer time to fix a lot of the bugs, a lot of the issues. It's not coming together in the way that we feel comfortable launching. If Todd Howard would have came out and said those words, I think a lot more people would be happy about Fallout 76 than they are right now. And I think the same could be said about Anthem. And unfortunately, because of, higher up investors and everything, these two games specifically were shoved out too early to meet a deadline, to meet corporate sales and everything, and that's the major issue we have here, and that's why you see unfinished games being released. Not everybody has the power that somebody like Hideo Kojima has to say, hey, I'm going to put out Death Stranding whenever the hell I want, and you're all going to have to wait for it. Not everybody has that power, unfortunately. That's the point I want to make here, is that we need to stop shipping unfinished games. Plain and simple. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this little op-ed piece, rant, whatever you want to call this. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.